Major, Chief, would y'all close the door, please? Thank you. All right, I want to welcome everyone to Commissioners Court and want to be the first to say I hope everyone has a fantastic Thanksgiving. We have so much to be thankful for, and just welcome everyone. Starting off, as we're accustomed, we have Brother Eric Graham. If you would, please, sir, come forward and lead us in the invocation, and Commissioner McCann, the pledges.
Let's pray. Lord, we do have so much to be thankful for, and we know who we have to thank for it, and that's you, Lord. And we just thank you for all the blessings that we get to enjoy here in Henderson County. We know that we're blessed people, and Lord, we just want to continue to say thank you. Lord, we just thank you for our leadership here in our county, and pray that you would just continue to give them guidance, Lord, for our public servants. Lord, I just pray that you'd give great wisdom and discernment. And Lord, I just pray that you'd continue to protect our officers and our those who are serving in all facets in our community. And again, Lord, that you would just give us a good understanding of good and perfect will, God. I just thank you again for this time of year in which we draw together. And Lord, I pray that you just increase understanding of love, Lord, that we would not have division, but unity in our community, and Lord, that there would just continue to be an attitude of love for one another, regardless of any differences, but we would not have differences divide your people. And we just thank you again for all your blessings, and it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Brother Graham, thank you. All right. Well, the time is 9:02. We do have a quorum, so we will call this meeting to order. Are there any citizens' comments?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay, we have two that are electing to speak once the item is called, and both of these are related to item number 6. So there's no one else wishing to speak at this time. All right. Item number 1, consider and take action on minutes from previously held meeting of Commissioners Court on November the 16th, 2021. Are there any additions, deletions, or comments?
Hearing none, Judge, I move we approve the Commissioners Court regular session on November the 16th, 2021 as presented.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Spivey, to approve the minutes of the November 16th, 2021 meeting of Commissioners Court's minutes as presented. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Number 2, consider and take action on minutes from previously held meeting, a special meeting of Commissioners Court on November the 12th, 2021. And I believe this meeting was concerning our redistricting. Are there any additions, deletions, or comments? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Spivey, to approve the minutes as presented from the special meeting of Commissioners Court held on November the 12th, 2021 as presented. All those in favor? Item passes. Item 3, consider and take action on refund requests for overpayment of taxes from the Henderson County Tax Assessor Collector. Good morning.
Good morning. I have a refund check due to an overpayment of $2,652.65.
Okay. Questions from the court? We are beginning to get into that time of year again.
Yes, sir.
For those of you that don't regularly attend, usually the last month and the first couple of 3 months of the coming year is when we have quite a few of these.
Oh, yes.
Any other comments? Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve the refund request of $2,652.65 from the Tax Assessor Collector's Office. All those in favor? Item passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 4, consider and take action on transfer request for cargo trailer from the Sheriff's Office to the Elections Office. Is there anyone? The Chief is here. Chief, come forward if you would and lay out the transfer.
Good morning, Court. This is a box trailer we've had for a number of years and we've used, but over the last probably 7 or 8 years that I know of, and possibly before that, this little box trailer has been used by the Elections Office to haul equipment around from different location to location. We've got equipment now in order to replace it that's more efficient for what we use it for now, and the election officers get more benefit out of using it. So the sheriff would like to send that over to Elections Office.
Questions? This is just like a 12, 16-foot bumper pull?
Yes, sir. It's a bumper pull. It's 10 to 12, something like that. It's pretty small. We've actually acquired a crime scene trailer, and that is just one of the disciplines within law enforcement that's grown so much that we would need about 2 or 3 of those trailers to fulfill that task.
Okay. Questions, comments, Court?
She's already been using this trailer for a couple of years, hasn't she?
She
Several
has.
years.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Spivey, to approve the transfer request for a cargo trailer from the Sheriff's Office to the Elections Office. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Item number 5 is consider and take action to accept a donation from the Sportsman's Paradise POA in the amount of $123.90 for 2 neighborhood watch signs and poles located in Precinct 3. Commissioner?
Yes, this is Sportsman's Paradise. POA wanted some signs put in their addition. I put 2 on the county road parts of their addition, and they wanted 2 more up in interior part of the addition, so they bought those and signs and the poles, and this is a donation back to the county for the cost of those.
Okay. Questions for the Commissioner? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve the donation from Sportsman's Paradise POA in the amount of $123 for the 2 neighborhood watch signs and poles located in Precinct 3.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve the donation from the Sportsman's Paradise POA in the amount of $123.90 for 2 neighborhood watch signs and poles located in Precinct 3. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Item number 6 is consider and take action to accept ratification of county road maintenance of Creek Circle located in Precinct 4. This is to be put into the county road maintenance system. And we have 2 individuals that have signed up to speak once we had come to this item. And the first one is a Mr. Brian Sherman. Mr. Sherman, if you would, please come forward, state your name and give your address for the clerk, please.
My name is Brian Sherman. I live at 224 Creekside Circle.
Okay. Please proceed, sir.
First of all, I'd like to thank y'all for this opportunity. It's been a long process, and I'm speaking on behalf of our neighborhood. There's quite a few people in this neighborhood. The road in front of it and the road behind it is in the maintenance program. And it's always been kind of confused, if it is a county road, if it's private. We've heard both. It's kind of been back and forth for a number of years. But some of our issues and concerns, the first concern is the school bus. They park on 175, and they make the kids walk from Highway 175 to the Creekside Circle, and it's 70 miles per hour. There's been multiple wrecks. There's been people slamming on their brakes, almost hit the bus. There's been collisions. There's been kids having to veer off to the ditch to miss cars. It's just really, really dangerous for our kids. That's the first concern that I have. Number two, we had a neighbor's house burned down a few years ago, and Baxter Fire Department couldn't even get down our road. I mean, it was really tough. They had to go through some yards, through some ditches. Myself and a few others were fighting with garden hoses because it took them so long to get down there. And I remember them stating they could have got there maybe a little quicker if, the roads wasn't in such bad shape. So that just kind of stuck in my mind. Number three, EMS has been called multiple times just over the years. I've lived there in 16 years, and it's really hard for them to get down there. They've made comments about, having to walk through other neighbors' yards and find easier paths to get to houses just because the road is in such bad shape. They're bottoming out their vehicles. And number four, it's happened a few times, but in 2008 when we had hurricane and we had a tremendous rainfall and they ordered it a natural disaster, we have a few houses flood, one so bad that FEMA had to come in and restore her home and displace her children for about 3 weeks because there's no drainage. Our houses flood, the front yards hold water, and we have mosquito problems, we have rodent problems, and we've even had the fire marshal come down our road and kind of cite us with warnings because the overgrowth of the ditches adjacent from our houses, but we can't maintain them because they just hold water so much. So these are just some of the concerns that I have that I think my neighbors would share. Most of it is our kids. I cringe every time I see them get off the bus. If anybody travels Highway 175 East, they know the speeds now that it's a great, nice paved road, it's even faster. So that's just some of the items that I have that I've concerned, and I appreciate, even considering this. It's been a long, road. We've tried a few times, but I would definitely like to see, some upgrade on some drainage and, get our kids be able to get picked up at their home and have adequate emergency, travel and things like that. So I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next individual that has requested to speak is Richard Harris. Mr. Harris, if you would, again, please come forward. Give your name and address at the podium for the record, please, and then you'll have 3 minutes.
I'm Richard Harris. I live at 218 Creekside Circle. It's Creekside, not Creek Circle. My concern, as is Mr. Sherman's, is the road being so rough. I've lived out there for 26 years, and I remember when buses did drive through our road, and they've soon after refused to drive through there to drop off the children. I've raised a family out there, and I wouldn't take my daughter up to the end of the road because of the traffic up there at the highway. Now that it's smoothed out, like you said, they drive even faster. We desperately do need our road repaved. It was never done right to start with, pretty obviously. But my also concern is if all the patching that's done to fill in all the potholes that are out there. I see delivery drivers come in and out of there daily. I'm retired, so I'm there a lot. And they have no mercy when they drive through there. A lot of the people who are driving through there looking for somebody's house or looking for a house for sale, possibly, they have no mercy on the road. Potholes, patched in potholes won't slow anybody down. Children at play won't slow anybody down. A speed limit sign won't slow anybody down. A speed hump across the road will slow you down, or else you're paying a big mechanical fine on your automobile. But this road needs to be, something needs to be done with it, and that's pretty much about all I've got. But it needs to be done. I've lived out there a long time, and I want to keep living there. I'm raising my grandkids there now, and I don't need, the yards are so small that our children almost have to play in the road to have any room at all, 2 or 3 vehicles per house. And they just about have to play in the street in order to have room to play in at all. And we need something done out there desperately so none of our children get run over or pets, anything like that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Given that that is everyone that has requested to speak, Commissioner Richardson, this is an item that you requested to be placed on the agenda, so if you'd like to lay it out for us.
Yes, Court. The members of the subdivision of Creekside Village come to my attention, and they've been in the county office several times. I've been at the county for 21 years, and by word of mouth, all the guys that work the precinct's always been told it was a private road. Creekside Drive, right next to it, is a county road that we maintain, and it shares partially the same name, Creekside Drive, and then you have Creekside Circle. Miss Houston came to me asking about it, and I noticed that in 1995 they also came to Commissioner Jerry West asking about it, and it was in the minutes for a discussion, but no action was taken. And so I got to checking on this, and I was going to go back and find the proof that it was a private road. But in my research with the county clerk's office, I found in there that in October the 6th of 1980, it reads, motion made by Commissioner Tarrant, second by Commissioner Featherston, that the court pass order approving plat of Creekside Village in Precinct 4. All streets are public and will be subject to a two-year maintenance program. And after that, there was nothing, no other stuff that come up. Usually after 2 years, the Commissioner's Court will go and inspect the road and accept it in. But we had this previous problem with another road called Butler Road that was supposed to be a public road, and it seemed like fell through the cracks during maybe a commissioner change in office, and nothing was said about it. So brought this to the attention of the court, pull up this minutes and stuff showing that it was supposed to go into a two-year maintenance program and be voted in. And I know I rode the school bus, and it used to go down that road and drop kids off when I was on it, and it's a paved blacktop road, but after 41 years of no maintenance, it's got pretty rough. So it does show that our road and bridge guys, how good roads do stay if you maintain them, but if you don't maintain them, they get in bad shape. So,
Any questions for the commissioner?
Well, it looks like through your research, you found out that in 1980 that it was accepted in a two-year maintenance program. And then after that two-year period,
it never came through the minutes on the court to approve it, to disapprove it or approve it. There was just nothing there. It was never brought to court to accept it. And that was the same thing on the other road that we accepted. Commissioner Ken Giesland had brought that to court's attention, I think in 2014, that there was another road that was similar to that, and we brought it into county maintenance. And this road is 3/10 of a mile long, so it's not a long road. It just makes a circle from 175 and loops around and comes back into 175.
Any other questions for the commissioner?
and this is a road that you feel should be accepted into your...
Yeah, by checking the history and stuff on it, I know in the future, I'd made a suggestion last week that when a subdivision does come in and they plan on making their roads public, it does show in our subdivision policies that they need to put up a 2-year maintenance bond. And that way, none of this ever happens again, that the developer will come to want to collect their money back on their bond if it don't have to be used, and they'll bring it to our attention that it needs to be brought back to court for acceptance. So.
One thing specifically about the minutes when you read back in 1980, that these roads were expressly dedicated for the public use, and that being the major criteria to receive public maintenance. So it's not like it was originally a private and then tried to come in. It has always been a public access use road, according to the information you provided to us.
And I did go look up some other subdivisions that one was brought in 1977, and they were saying that it was a public road, and we went and done research on it also. That's one of the roads I'll be taking over in Precinct 3, and it says that they were for private use. Mm-hmm. So it does state in the deal that it was a private road, intended to be private subdivision. So.
Any other questions or comments?
And
Commissioner?
in that same discussion, those that are dedicated to be private, those constituents or homeowners have to come in and fix the road up to county standard and then put it in a 2-year maintenance program for the
Yes.
county to take it over. And in this instance, this road was dedicated to the public and put in a 2-year maintenance program, and just after the 2-year maintenance program,
Nobody ever
checked
brought it back to court. They just assumed that it was county road, and then after it did get to the need of repair, a new commissioner had come in and said, this is not county, you know. They never went back and done the research on it to find out that it was a public road.
Okay. Again, any other comments or questions? If not, Commissioner? Oh,
I'd like to ask the county attorney if he has any kind of opinion on that.
I've been here for 13 years, and Creekside Drive's been here 13 years with me. So, I think the court has discretion here. I don't think the court has to accept the roads into the county maintenance system, but I definitely think under the circumstances, the fact that it was placed in the original 2-year maintenance period in 1980, that the court can accept those into the county maintenance system if it chooses. I don't disagree with anything either of the two speakers said. I've been out to Creekside Drive and driven it myself over the years, and it's awful. It's needed, and it's reasonable to accept it. And to me, it's one of those things that you defer to the commissioner that's in office on it. If the commissioner's okay with it, then no reason to object to it. But you do have discretion. You're definitely okay either way on whether to accept or not to accept. And it was really the failure, and this is something, typically with a developer, it would typically be the responsibility of the developer. That first Commissioners Court meeting back in 1980, that's just the first step in getting roads accepted into the county maintenance system. That's not the actual act of acceptance by the court. All the court is saying is, today is the beginning date. We are going to wait 2 years and come back to court and actually take the act of accepting these into the maintenance system. And it's that second prong that just never happened. They went through the first half. Typically, that would be driven by the person that wants the road accepted into the maintenance system. It's not really up to the Commissioner's Court. It really would be up to the developer to have come back, and that to me is where the ball was dropped. Is nobody ever came back. It's not a bad idea. Again, I say that not in disagreement with Commissioner Richardson. It's not a bad idea that we try to counter that, because we understand that people don't realize and know everything that about processes and procedures and things like that. So, and yes, the bond would create a automatic prompt for them at the 2-year period in case they do neglect or forget to come back and follow up and do it.
if there's no other comments, Commissioner?
Court, I'd like to make a motion to accept ratification of the county road maintenance of Creekside Circle located in Precinct 4 to be put into county maintenance system.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner McCam, to accept the ratification of county road maintenance of Creekside Circle located in Precinct 4 for the road to be put into county maintenance system. All those in favor of the motion? The item passes. Now, item number 7 is consider and discuss matters related to the Henderson County Opioid Project and educate, which many of you may have heard is called HOPE. We have representatives here with us today. Doctor Harrison, please come forward and share with the court about the HOPE Project.
Thank you so much, Court, for allowing us to come here today to share about this project. The challenge about this is I didn't know how much time we have, and when we're preparing for this, we thought it was going to be a workshop. So I don't know how much seconds I have to.
You have all the time in the world.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So this project, my name is Harrison Detan. I'm a professor of biostatistics and epidemiology at the Health Science Center of the University of Texas at Tyler. So I worked on this project in a team of organizations that involve two of our organizations here in Henderson County with headquarters here in Athens. There's Help Center, the Henderson County Help Center, and there is the UT Health East Texas, what we used to call the Athens Hospital. And then we also have the East Texas Council of Alcohol and Drug Abuse that has been in this community for a while trying to address alcohol issues, and then with the Health Science Center at Tyler. So those are the four organizations that conceived this project, and they work together. But the main thing that we're here to discuss today is just to make sure that we increase awareness of the community about what the situation looks like. The very first thing is that this project was conceived because of the drug problem in Henderson County. Drug problem is not an exclusive preserve of Henderson County. It's something that is all around the United States. There's a challenge around the United States, but when we look into our data, Texas looks a little bit better, but our data in East Texas is a little bit higher than Texas, but even worse in the rural communities. And as you all know, Henderson County is one of those rural communities that will have high issues of opiate and substance use disorder. Just to paint a little bit of the picture, if you look at the rates, we have a drug prescribing rates, in particular opiate prescribing rate, is about 69% within the state, within the county. And then we have a drug overdose within the 4 years average is about 27.5%. That per 100,000, 27.5 per 100,000 population. That rate is way more than what we have in the entire state of Texas. The average of Texas is about 14, and then the average of the United States is about 27.1. So even with that, we're still at a very high rate. Those are the sort of concerns that warranted urgency in trying to address the problem within the county. In fact, if we look at 240 counties within Texas, we are around the top 6% with issues like this. What makes this problem even worse is the fact that a lot of places we have resources that have been put in place to help address this problem. But most of us in East Texas, there's just no clear resources put in place. In fact, there may be some isolated efforts, but we do not have a concerted effort to try to address the problem. And that's why we thought that something like this requires a community action. That is important for us to be able to push it forward. And to have something as a community action, one, we must have an urgency. That's what we have in the next slide. We have an urgency of a problem, and then we have some community leaders that can champion the problem, and then we have resources that are dedicated to do that problem. So when COVID broke out, we knew that this problem was going to increase. Of course, COVID comes to exacerbate most of our social problems. And when people feel isolated, social network being disintegrated, those who already started looking for solace from substance use and opioid use will tend to these things a little bit more. In fact, some of the supply chains will be disrupted, but it means that it brings some inconsistency and predictability that makes people even withdraw more. So there are all reasons that you could think that those things will come up. Then with this in place, we needed resources. We applied for a grant from the Health Resources and Services Administration, and we awarded $1 million to use within the next 3 years to try to address the problem. We're already into the second year since that was awarded. And the goal of that is to do three things. One, to mobilize the community to help increase awareness of this problem within the community, because that's the first way to be able to solve a problem. Increase awareness, screen, and then try to bring prevention services, including overdose reversal. And then the second goal is to try to increase access to treatment for opioid use disorder problems. And then the third goal is to try to prevent recovery and support services for those who have these issues. And as we mentioned, issues like this involve community action. Keep going to the next slide. I'll pass through that gold slide. Okay, now I'm there. So issues like this require mobilizing the community stakeholders, the different stakeholders within the community. We mean governmental agencies, non-governmental agencies, healthcare providers, law enforcement, even caregivers and families to come together to do the work. And our plan is to do this work in phases. We've initiated our actions within the whole last year. Now we're trying to organize to make sure we can have impact, and then we'll work on how to sustain the actions and the impact. And that's one of the reasons why I come to leaders, to make sure we understand that if funding is available for 3 years, when the funding is gone, what happens? And the problem is not going to be gone for 2 years. Opioid use disorder issue is chronic. It doesn't go within 3 years. Do we want to come and initiate and scratch the surfaces here and disappear? I don't think that is what we want. If we want a good outcome for our community, we have to try to think about how we sustain our impact. And that is why we thought that it was necessary to come to the leaders in the court to make sure they understand that. We are organized in a way that makes sense. We have a consortium, we have some staff that has been supported through the grant. We have an advisory board, a serious advisory board, and I want to thank the county judge to be a member of that advisory board. We've spoken to the county attorney before, and I want to thank also Measure File for all their support that they've given all this file. In fact, we've invited the sheriff into the advisory board, and I think we're still going to be reaching out to the county attorney so that you can serve in the advisory board. There at the advisory board, we get all we present the outcome that we see, the expectation, the outcome, and then we'll get advice on how we can keep implementing and moving things forward. So we have 3 task forces that we work on right now. There's one that is dedicated for prevention, there's one that is dedicated for treatment, and there's one that is dedicated for recovery. And when we do all this work, we try to put our data in a way that we move people from prevention to treatment to recovery. And with prevention, we have different components of that prevention that people need to think about. There is general awareness. Just want people to understand what the problem is. Then we can screen those after we've created the awareness. Some people become aware of the issue, and then they'll say, well, I can be screened whether I'm at risk of having this problem. And when you understand you're screened for being at risk, they want to find out whether you really need treatment. So that is happening now within the healthcare, because you cannot diagnose people in the street. So if they have the interest, they can go through the hospital and we can diagnose them for having the problem. Now they are qualified to be in the next round, which is the treatment group. And within the treatment, not everybody that needs treatment really will want to accept treatment. So we initiate treatment for those who decide to take the treatment, and we want to follow them to stay in treatment for some period of time, which we call retention. The evidence shows that substance use disorder doesn't disappear on a single day. If you stay in treatment for at least 6 months, the chances of recovery is great. So we want to track the data for those who stayed in treatment for at least 6 months, which is 180 days. And then we have resources to follow those who want to stay in recovery, building a recovery support team, because this is not something that you can just wheel yourself out in a single day. So we provide medication-assisted treatment and also provide peer support network to work with you to be able to move things out. So I've gone too far in that slide so far so that I can give back your time. But the point is, initiating actions, we've done a few things around to create awareness. We've been at the prison before. We've had some discussion there. And I want us to recognize the fact that we have 2 unique systems here that we need to address. One is the prison population, and one is the general population. And even within the general population, we're talking about the entire Henderson County. Accessing the county, we need to split them into major cities. So there's a lot of work, and we are inviting everybody to be part. In fact, I'm so excited to see that Measure Ford is here today, because that community, the prison community, is a community where we want to really commit things. Who is moving the slide, can move it a little bit further, and I'll tell you where to stop. Keep going. A little bit more. One last. Yeah, there, stop there. So there, I'm trying to show some data that can help us understand the gravity of the problem, and I will try to be brief. If we look at the very last end, there is the prison population. That population is in one spot. It doesn't have the type of challenge that we have in the entire community, because everybody is there in that population right there. With these people, according to records, it's showing that at every time we have about 380 to 500 persons on an average coming in through the jail. And from the report that we got from the sheriff and the Major Fire, is that about 90% of these people have some issues related to drug abuse, substance abuse. So if we put those numbers into perspective, we're talking about having a lot of people that have the problem, between 340 to about 450 people having this problem in the jail at every time. So if we can initiate a discussion with these people that this is the problem, and then they own up, because we did a screen for 55, and thank you, Major Farr, for passing that survey. We screened about 55 of the residents there, and they indicated, all of them, 100% of those 55 indicated that they had been exposed to substance use disorder in some form. They've injected drugs, and then almost all of them said they've never had treatment for it. That is mind-blowing. So we may be thinking that it's just a moral issue, we can just keep you there and beat you out of it. No, it's a chronic disease. Once you get hooked, and you don't get hooked all the time. We have people who are problematic. They go through the illicit route, but also have people who go through this route through the normal legal route. You live from here, God forbid, you have an accident, you are in chronic pain. The doctors have been told before now that it is okay to prescribe those who are in serious pain some opioid. And if you take the opioid, a lot of us, you start taking the opioid, it brings you some feeling good. Okay, you start feeling good and you want to keep taking it. So sometimes you think that, oh, because I'm feeling good, this is the best way. This pain is too much for me. But this medication was prescribed to me by the doctor, so it's good. You start going through a route that soon you get what? You start depending on it. And when you start depending on it, you start, what happens? You get addicted. Every time that's what you want to take. And then your tolerance level changes. The more you take it, the more you want to take it, and you depend on that, it start destroying you completely, put in a spiral that destroys your own individual life, the life of your family. In fact, it started destroying even the life of our entire economy and society. So with that, we just thought that it is important for us to be able to screen and bring people into treatment and stay there. And there are certain things that we think that together as a community we may make some decisions that can move people further. For example, we had proposed within our advisory board something called hope and not handcuffs. Hope, not handcuffs. Where some discussion can go out there to say that, well, because of the stigma, know that there's some benefit. Because of the stigma, people don't own up to say that they have this problem. Okay, but if we bring this discussion clearly, people can understand that, well, if I have this problem, I own up, and this project exists, we can give you help to help you come through that. So that is not an incriminated thing. But if you wait until you are hooked up by the law enforcement, then that is a new problem. You have to deal with that problem. But if you come up without this problem before you are hooked up, we can give you all the support. Then the second option that we think that can also help to get people, because again, there's a lot of stigma. People don't come to get this help. The second thing that we thought can help maybe will be the parole. There are a lot of those who are already hooked up. They are in jail. And some have to be given some parole time. You say, well, and some of this, I don't know all the legal implications of that, but we know that sometimes there are some requirements for you to stay clean. And what if part of that requirement is for you to go through the treatment, to go through the services that are provided? You just show documentation that you're taking advantage of what taxpayers are already paying for you to help you and your family. That may be one of the conditions on that. If we can make those will be some policy advocacy things that can help us move this together. So I want to conclude by thanking you for giving us the opportunity to share this and praying that every member in the community is invited to participate in this by all means so that we can help increase the awareness, overcome the stigma, because a lot of people have the problem but they will not own up. But we'll bring in some few policies and encouragement to help people participate in the program. And whenever we have funds come down, for example, we know that within the state of Texas now, there are about 5 opioid abatement things going through, and when they pass, one has passed. We don't know when the funds start coming down. Some of the funds will come down to the county. Maybe this is a place where sometime we'll come back to plead for some of the funds committed into a project like this for the sake of sustainability, because the money that the government has given us now is going to expire in the next year, in 2023, that will be gone. Is that where we think that the problem will be completely gone? I don't think so. So we'll need to think on how to put some resources to keep the project going. Thank you so much for your time and your attention this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Stu.
It's very interesting to bring in, and so that everyone understands, and please don't run off. No, y'all. Thank you. This program, its genesis, and I really believe that we need to bring light to this, was a grant project of which you yourself initiated in conjunction with UT Health, or the UT system, to bring this together, because we are of a rural nature, the services to address these type of issues just really is not available in the rural parts of Texas. Is that correct?
Correct.
And through your efforts, you were able to be awarded a very sizable amount of award to be able to bring this to Henderson County. And like you said, it was over 3 years that this award is available, and we are now into the second year. We had our first discussions over a year ago, just right at the beginnings of COVID, which slowed this project down, but it did not stop it. Now, one thing that the court will recognize is that, as was mentioned, we have the opioid litigation and how these are structured, that 70% of that funding that comes from these settlements is to be directed toward these very types of projects. And this is very crucial at this time that we have what is being presented here by the HOPE project, that we begin to develop those so that they will be competitive for funding in the future. And individuals, and I've even said this before, we've always heard it, well, methamphetamines is the issue of Henderson County. Well, that's because it's easily recognizable out there, but one aspect of the opioids that law enforcement can speak to is the fact that it is actually a gateway into the illicit narcotics and drug use that we see more commonly. These individuals, as I was saying, and I might even get the county attorney to speak in on this, but if you'll remember from the settlement agreement, there was concerted efforts, or the argument has been made, there's been concerted efforts by the drug manufacturers many years back to promote the use of these type of drugs for pain management. They actually created a consortium to teach the medical community to use this medication, and more or less, I believe you've all heard, suggest that it's medical malpractice if you do not effectively address an individual's pain. So that is kind of the basis of the litigation, and also what we see as the basis of the pandemic, or the epidemic. Opioids affect individuals, and you'll never see it. One of the discussions I brought up, many of you remember Brett Favre, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. He is not someone that you would believe to be a drug user, but he was. He ended up being treated, if you'll remember correctly, during his time at Green Bay for an opioid addiction, all based upon pain relief. One of the interesting things that is taken in consideration that I actually learned this weekend, and some of you will chuckle at this, according to ESCADA, the East Texas Council, they've got a very long name.
East Texas Council of Alcohol and Drug Abuse.
Thank you. One of the statistics that they had up was 71% of farmers are at risk for opioid addiction. And that is also, incidentally, the same as construction workers. Well, when you analyze that, most of us having an agricultural background, you know how stressful the weather patterns are, the market, you pushing all of that, plus the propensity to be injured. And it's the same way with the construction industry, because those individuals have a higher possibility of injury and the very cyclical nature of the construction business. So they're bringing several different aspects together to help identify these. The other point that they're trying to do is, how do we develop an effective treatment? Locally, Dr. David I believe that is correct,
Dr. David, yes.
is involved in actually training the medical students that we have associated. Could you speak some to that?
Yes, I
A little
can.
bit, please.
Yeah, so, and thank you for going to a little bit of the details that I rushed over. So, part of our treatment, our commitment is to increase access to treatment, meaning that we have to increase the workforce of those who can provide this treatment. Remember that medicated assisted treatment, we are using an integrative approach, so using medication like methadone, buprenorphine, and all those prescribed by doctors, as well as psychotherapy, all those other things that are provided by clinical psychologists are important. So this workforce is, before applying for this grant, we showed before that we had 3 persons that had a waiver to treat within the county. But when we're looking for them, we cannot find them. So even though the record from SAMHSA shows that there are people who had the chance, the ability to treat within the community, we discovered that they were not even any more resident yet. So one of our proposition or the promise we made is that we're going to try to train physicians here and encourage them to stay and treat people within this community. So the UT Health Science Center has a medical residency program that was approved for Henderson County. And Dr. David is the program director. Dr. David, you all know him. He's practiced here as a pediatrician for more than 30 years, as I came to understand. But I knew him only within application of this project. So he has 4 medical residents right now that are being trained. And so sometimes within community events, we're going to see these medical residents coming out and speak. It's always difficult to start training. And so he's under a lot of pressure now because he has about 5 now undergoing treatment with him. And he said he spends an hour just to manage one of these patients. So it's a burden trying to manage this patient as well as training these residents. But sooner or later, these residents will become qualified to also treat. So we'll have more persons. So that is one of the commitment we have to keep increasing that. And we're going to try to apply to the government for loan repayment so that if they can repay their loan and they commit to stay within the community for a certain period of time, that will be great. Next year, we are hoping to have 4 more to train. So the point is they may train and leave. So we are looking for incentives to keep them here. And one of those is to apply for first of all, meet the East Texas Community Clinic, which is where they are being trained, to be eligible to help people apply for this loan through. So when that is approved, then we can help these students apply for their loan, and with the condition that you stay in the rural community for a period of time. That way we can have some doctors available to be able to help these patients. But right now we don't have a lot of people going in there. We have 5 here, about 5 in Texas using telehealth. We want to increase more patients coming through. So we need to increase all sort of awareness to have people know that these services are available and then try to use them.
Well, one of the things, if we refer to the slide up there under the Henderson County, to date there have been 91 individuals screened through this process already. Is that correct?
Yes.
And
so
we've
been able to serve over close to 2,000 persons talking to them, but very few have come to screening. So 91 have been screened, including those that were through EMS or for drug overdose. So they've been screened. And people screened, very few are under treatment. As I mentioned, we have very few that are under treatment right now. We have 5 here with Dr. David, 5 going to the Health Science Center at Tyler. So they want to have more people stay in the treatment. And we have funds to pay for. So especially those in the jail, we'll be able to buy the medication there and for them to get this treatment. We'll be happy to know that before they leave, they're better than they even got in there. That will be very helpful.
And that is one of the points of this project, is that establishing the support mechanism and treatment mechanism here. And I believe one of the strong discussions about being with the jail population is the fact that we have these individuals that we know going through the screening system, their circumstances, that is the best opportunity to get that type of treatment to them in a setting where they may be able to extend that and be successful. Is that correct?
Correct. May be able to stay in the retention, which is a very big part. A lot of times people take medication once, they thought that it will be done. No. So you need to stay there, that retention. So for those who are there, and then also we are building the recovery support system so that by the time you are leaving, we want to be able to follow you through and provide those support that you need. Some of the support is basic need, transportation, housing, and all the things that if you do not have these things, you easily go back to the community where you got yourself into trouble. So we want to be able to facilitate the discharge coordination and help them to recover. And also train some of those who are recovering to become experts to train others. So that's one of the things we're doing through ECADA. Those who stay in recovery as recovery support specialists are those who have been in the problem and have recovered. And one advocacy we're doing is we'll have to talk to the health facilities around so that when these people are trained, they can be hired to train others. So we brought in people, experts, to teach on how to build and code. So we had a training on the 12th of November to teach only about building and coding for these services, so that once we start training these people, they can be hired because they know that they can build the insurance for these services and get reimbursed. So that's part of the sustainability spirit. So it's a lot of work, but we need everybody to be part of it. So we're making it holistic, covering all the different elements. That's why we're funded, because we're able to paint this whole holistic picture. It's not just one thing. It's not just talking or just treating. We're building the entire holistic picture of it around it.
And the urgency is that we've had a 3-year window for this program to help set up the next phase, which hopefully we'll be able to access those funds that come in through the abatement, the opioid abatement. And the challenge here now is that we're halfway through, and we've got just a short amount of time to get it developed and established.
Correct. That's correct. And one other thing, and I'm making this play for those who know anybody who need to use. If we do not use the resources, we're going to lose them. That's how government money works. They give you don't use it, they take it back. And you can't come back later and say that you had this problem. They say, well, we'll give you money before you didn't use it. So we need to use what we have. Then let's go dry and then start turning into the opioid abatement money. So right now, I'm wanting to constantly increase the awareness. Any round that we have people that need the help, let's make sure that they get the help. Let's use what we've had. And again, it's our money. It's taxpayers' money. Every money that comes from the government. So it's not as if it's my money. It's not. So let's make sure that we use them judiciously.
Court, discussion, questions? Well, hearing none, Doctor, thank you very, very much. We very much appreciate your efforts. We were, a year and a half ago, we were very surprised when you came forward and said that your organization and yourself had put so much effort in bringing that funding and opportunity to Henderson County. And it's no small feat, and we thank you for it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? All right, then we will move on to item 8, which is receive financial reports. And we have none. So item 9 is consider and take action on payroll distributions and accounts cash sheets. And, pardon? She stepped out. Okay, well, let's go ahead and move to item 10, and we'll wait on her return. Item 10 is consider and take action on submitted contracts. And we have a couple of them. We'll start with, which one would you like to start with?
The contract that I have is the interlocal agreement with the Texas Comptroller's Office.
Okay.
This is for the LED lighting retrofit program. I'm bringing it in front of the court this way because we just received it yesterday, and it has a time frame to be turned in before we will I would have the chance to bring it back before the court. This is our award for the lighting program. We have been awarded $75,000. It does require a 20% match, and it is to replace fixtures and bulbs within 15 buildings within the county. We will, at the courthouse and the library, it will be replacing fixtures. The other 13 buildings is just replacing bulbs with LED lighting.
Questions?
Will the money that we've spent so far go towards the 20%?
No, ma'am.
Questions, comments? This was an opportunity that came together rather quickly a number of months ago, and it's stayed on this fast pace. So what we plan on doing is doing this, focusing this money completely on materials and continuing using in-house labor to do this. As Commissioner mentioned, we have been replacing some over the, well, actually years, to help in reducing our energy use, and this is a great opportunity for us to be able to save that material cost. Any comments?
Is the 20%, will labor go towards that, or is it just material? You got to spend 20% of the material?
We did labor and
Labor.
material. Yes, we
Labor
had to
and
send in a letter showing how we would make up the match.
Okay.
Any other questions? And this will require.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey, second by Commissioner Tooley, to approve the State Energy Conservation Interlocal Cooperative Agreement with the county judge's authorization to sign. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. The next contract is with Tyler Technologies, it looks like, for legislative update.
Yes, this is the update for Senate Bill 41. They've gone in and changed all of these again. We tried to do this on our own 2 years ago. My office, the clerk's office, and Diane Russ talked about tremendously. It was a disaster. We don't have the skills or the time to do it. And Tyler Technologies is willing to do this. Hopefully going to go by the 1st of January. And the total fee to do all the courts is $13,000, but like I said, none of us are skilled enough to do this project.
I wish I could remember how many laws were passed the last legislative session.
It was over 1,000.
It was many. And all of those changes that affect our judicial process must be reflected in our software changes. So I think it's something that we should do myself.
And I was going to use the records management fund to pay for this since it was part of our records and keeping accurate records.
Okay. Questions, comments?
You said something about $13,000, but this is for 52.
There's 3 contracts in there.
Oh.
District clerk, county clerk, and
Gotcha.
yeah. And the JPs. Okay. Any other comments? And this will require the judge's signature. Entertain a motion.
So moved with the judge's authorization to sign.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Spivey, to approve the contracts with Tyler Technology for the legislative updates for the Odyssey system with the judge's authorization to sign. All those in favor? Item passes. We will go back up to item 9, which is consider and take action on payroll distributions and accounts cash sheets. Ms. Harris.
I have payroll totals for biweekly 23.
Okay. Questions or comments, court? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll disbursements for bi-weekly 23.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner McCam, second by Commissioner Richardson, to approve the payroll disbursement totals for biweekly 23 as presented. All those in favor? Item passes. Ms. Harris?
I also have the September accounts cash sheet.
Okay. Questions or comments? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Spivey, to approve the September account cash sheets as presented. All those in favor? Item passes.
And then I also have the October accounts cash sheet.
Questions, comments? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Spivey, second by Commissioner Richardson to approve the October accounts cash sheet as presented. All those in favor? Item passes.
Thank you.
Ms. Harrison. Item 11, consider and take action on request for right-of-way permits. We do have one. Commissioner Richardson.
Yes, Court, Virginia Hill Water Supplies came to me. They're replacing a water line on County Road 4622, and also it's on Pace Ranch Road. 4622 is actually a Precinct 4 road, and then it turns into Pace Ranch Road, which is actually in Precinct 1. They're replacing some lines, and there's one constituent that will not give them a permit to come across their place, so they're having to move it out about 100 yards on the county right-of-way to go around them. And then they're extending the line, I think, on Pace Ranch Road, on that part there, and it's going to be in the county right-of-way also. I think they've already have a 2-inch there, and I think they're upgrading it to a bigger line, and it's already within the right-of-way easement.
Okay.
And I've spoken with him also, and we decided to just let him present it.
Okay. Precinct 1 has no issues?
No,
with it?
sir.
Okay. Questions for the commissioners? Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the right-of-way permit for Virginia Hill Water Supply to install water lines on County Road 4622 and Pace Ranch Road with the Commissioner's authorization signed.
I'll second.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Spivey, to approve the right-of-way agreement with Virginia Hill Water Supply Corporation for the placement of water line along County Road 4622 and Pace Ranch Road with the Commissioner's authorization to sign. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Item 12, consider and take action on submitted budget amendments, and we have none of those. But we have item 13, which is consider and take action on payment of bills. Ms. Carpenter.
Yes, sir, we have two sets. We have October sales tax in the amount of $1,185.61.
Questions on the October sales tax? Hearing none, entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the October sales tax in the amount of $1,185.61.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Tooley, to approve the October 2021 sales tax in the amount of $1,185.61. All those in favor? Item passes.
Sir, we have fiscal year 2021 in the amount of $529,396.40.
Commissioner Spivey.
I have no questions, Judge.
Commissioner Tooley.
I have none.
Commissioner McCam.
I had one, I just wanted to make a statement on the receipts for the sanitation. Need to be moved from precinct 3 to sanitation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner
I
Richardson.
have none.
Entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 2021 bills in the amount of $529,396.40.
I'll second his motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Richardson, second by Commissioner Spivey, to approve the 2021 bills in the amount of $529,396.40. All those in favor of the motion? Item passes. Item 14 is consider and take action on submitted plats.
No plans.
No plats. Item 15 is open and consider bids. Have none of those. And item 16 is consider and take action to adjourn. And again, in the discussion portion of this, we want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving and hope that everyone is able to enjoy it with family and friends. Will you have it?
Sorry.
Any other Thanksgiving salutations we wish to give before we call for an adjournment?
I think you did a great job.
Stalling for time. Since we have everything signed, can we get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Tooley, second by Commissioner Spivey to adjourn. All those in favor?
One more. We will not be meeting next week.
That is true. We will not be meeting next week. So all in favor of the motion to adjourn? Item passes. Thank you very much.